Information Officers with Pacific Northwest Team 2, working here on the Crescent and McLeod Fires. Thanks for joining us. It is September 14th. You're live right here at the Incident Command Post for the very third edition of Live at Sunrise First Fire Facts. We're only going to have about 10 of these editions, so get your questions in, post them here so we can get to them. And thanks for everybody for the last couple of days for posting those questions. For some of the harder questions, we're still working on them. We'll get back to you. Quick facts. Crescent Mountain Fire, just about the same acreage. It went up just a little bit. 42% containment's the same. McLeod, same acreage as yesterday, 55% containment. And that Wilderness Fire Holman hasn't moved at all. It's a little deceiving at that 0%, but it's out there not moving at all. 750 personnel still assigned, and we expect that number to go down by about 100 a day now till Sunday. By Sunday, we should have about 400 folks here. The theme for the day is going to be creeping and smoldering. So you hear that throughout my report. That's the fire behavior that's been out there since we've had this nice rain, creeping and smoldering. The themes and highlights for today, we're going to talk about the forest closures, which were reduced yesterday. And I'm going to stand over here so you can see these beautiful maps that our GIS team made for you based on your feedback. And then we're also going to talk about that the vast majority of efforts are on repair, and that the community meeting will be in Twist next week on Thursday. We want to pre-invite you to that. And then we want to talk a little bit more about our map and our map teams and how these red blobs are a little bit deceiving to what's really going on out there in the landscape you love so much. Okay, so for the forest closures, the Forest Service has reduced the size of each closure on the Crescent and the McLeod. That happened yesterday afternoon. We have new maps made by Dan O'Connor, one of the specialists in the forest here. They have the hunting units overlaid on them, and we'll be posting those on the trap line today and also online. There's a red line around these maps, and that's part of our theme today with this creeping and smoldering. We don't have extreme fire behavior anymore. So the red line that you might see on the closure map is actually just showing you the closure area. We don't want you to get our red lines confused anymore. We're in that phase of the fire with the rain, with the late season that we're in now, with the colder temperatures, where there is no extreme fire behavior right now. So check for those closures before you go hunting, hunters. We know high hunt is coming right up, and we can expect over time the closure orders to get smaller as more work and more assessment of risk gets done. Okay, let's talk about the vast majority efforts out here on the fires are on that repair side. We've been talking for days, and Mike and Brandon from the Rocky Mountain team have been talking for days about the patrolling that's been going on both the Crescent and McLeod. That continues. When patrol becomes more, there's no more fire to fight, you go into repair mode. So there's 55 miles of bulldozer line out there. That's going to need all that to get repaired, and we have crews working on that. There's miles and miles of hand line out there, and once those hand lines are no longer needed to hold the fire because it's cold out, then we begin to repair them. Again, the only two concern areas right now are still in that Buttermilk Creek area, but that's creeping and smoldering, and then in that Sunshine area, and that's creeping and smoldering as well. Okay, so for the community meeting next week, we're going to have some very special flyover video for you so that you, the public, can see the entire fire perimeter on both fires, and that leads us to this discussion about these red blobs. Our GIS mapping team is fantastic. They produce these beautiful products every day. They produce many different kinds of products: the public information map, the operations map, transportation maps, fire progression maps. They're just a fantastic crew. But one of the technologies that's difficult right now is all you see as the public is one huge red mark. That doesn't tell you at all that the lightning strikes up here on Crescent started in the wilderness and burned in a mosaic pattern. There's pockets of high intensity, but there's a lot of pockets where it's just understory burn and that the forest looks great. You can't tell that now because there's a closure. So we're going to work to try to get you some aerial photos, and then next week on Thursday we're going to have the flyover so that you can see your entire forest, and then you'll be more assured that fire does burn in a more natural way and it's not all one big black forest. And for those of you who have hiked in forest after a fire team has been here and you've been looking at these red blobs all summer long, you often say to yourself, well, honey, it doesn't look as bad as I thought. And that's how fire is. We try to keep, whenever possible, whenever we light fire, we try to keep it to an understory burn. And then fire itself, ideally, if there's not too much alignment, it doesn't just burn super hot everywhere. So we'll get more into that on Thursday, and we'll try to reveal some aerial shots to you over the week. At the community meeting next week, we're going to cover several topics for you. There'll be local representatives there talking about flood preparedness. We all know from Carlton that after fire, if there's heavy rain, there can be serious flood effects. We'll talk about FireWise. We'll have local representatives there. That's the greatest gift you can give firefighters and your family, is to have your house ready for either late season this year if October gets extremely dry, or most certainly next season. We'll talk about the burned area emergency response team that's coming in September 24th. That's the soil scientists and specialists, hydrologists, road engineers. We're specifically here to make sure that all the assessment is done so we can get that exact burn severity on the soil and the trees, an exact prescription for how to reseed things, fix culverts, and make this forest ready for the future for your kids and their grandkids so it can come back more quickly. Okay, so the ops again. You've heard it a million times. Patrolling, securing, patrolling. The log decks are growing. We have a great picture last night of the log deck. We just want to make sure you know, when we go into firefighting efforts, it's all hands, all efforts. So you have firefighters up against the line, and you'll also sometimes have experienced loggers or big logging machines. So in the 8 Mile Creek drainage, it was very critical to get the big logs out quickly. They did that. Now they're removing them by hiring local logging trucks, and they're decking them down at the ranch. So that's important for people to know that this is an effort to suppress the fire. It worked. You can see the black line there. There's going to be a lot of traffic on that road for a long time, but specifically for the next 3 days will be the logging truck effort. And then those logs will be sold to local timber companies. And this road, people have asked a lot, when's 8 Mile Road going to open? We don't have the answer to that. Remember, after firefighting is repair. After repair is assessment. And after assessment, the forest can then make their decision on when it's safe to let that road become fully trafficked. So we just don't know some of these answers. We do want to let you know that crews will be still rotating through this effort. We showed you the number. We have 750. Even though that number will be going down every day, people only work 14 days. Then they come in refreshed to support the effort. We still have all that repair to do. You're going to start to see the repair maps. In fact, we'll post a video this morning of our operations chief in front of that repair map. So again, that's going to be one of those red line issues. On the repair map, all the roads and all the fire line that needs to be repaired will be in red. So don't get confused again. That red just means we have that work to do. The theme is still creeping and smoldering. There is no fire behavior on the areas we've already told you are out. We are all one firefighting family, so when those crews come into town, they might not know the area yet. Go ahead and welcome them like you've welcomed us. We call ourselves the Green Pants Nation. Doesn't matter what badge we wear, whether we're local, county, state, or federal, we all have the same mission to protect your property, your communities, and your values at risk. So thanks for that. Thanks for the signs out there. We like to close with a standard firefighting order. Today we're going to go with number 3. Base all actions on current and expected behavior of the fire. So that's why the managers are out there looking to see how much risk we need to take to put people in this area to try to secure this off, and what to do about this sunshine area. With the creeping and smoldering, there isn't a whole lot of activity out there. So thanks so much. Post your questions and join us again tomorrow for edition 4.